NFL Live, where we begin with breaking news out of Green Bay. Micah Parsons, who tore his ACL late last season, announced he has 4 more months to go before he gets on the field, which would put him on the PUP list to start the season. That could make the return date in mid-October. We'll start here taking a listen to what he had to tell reporters himself today.
The goal for me is to complete the season. Not no relapse, not no and playoffs, and pushing towards the championship. The goal isn't for me to go out there and re-hurt myself, trying to force myself to be back in the first few games. The goal has always been playoffs, and I think we're all on the same page.
Our Packers reporter Rob Demovsky joining us now. And hey, Rob, lots of info for us to unpack here. Was this a new development for the team, or is this just the first time we're hearing an accurate timeline publicly?
Yeah, Micah Parsons' initial hope that he could play within the first month of the season was never realistic, and the team knew it. It's simple math, really. He was injured on December 14th. He had surgery on December 29th, and they have a 9-month rule where an ACL rehab guy doesn't do anything, and that includes practice for 9 months following the surgery. If he starts the season on PUP, he's automatically out the first 4 games. That pushes us into early October. And there's a very little chance the Packers would allow him to play with just 1 week of practice, so that probably makes week 5 against the Bears out. Next up would be week 6 against his old team, the Cowboys, on October 18th. Now, all that being said, that doesn't mean that Parsons is behind schedule. In fact, he said he's on schedule and he feels very good, so much so that his doctors told him, because of who you are, you're going to feel good. But what we've got to do is prevent you from feeling too good. Translation, don't do too much too soon. Laura?
Yeah, with these star players, I mean, we're seeing it with Patrick Mahomes. It's obviously different players, different injuries in some ways, but they want to get back on the field, as we might imagine. Thanks to Rob Demovsky for the latest there. And the Packers' first 8 games of the season will be from September to October. Rob alluding to some of the schedule here, but assuming Parsons is ready mid-October, look at this. Prime time in Dallas could be the first time we see him. How fitting. Of course, that's the way it goes, right? The Packers had the 12th easiest first 8 games this season per ESPN analytics. So for whatever that's worth, maybe there's a way they can get through without him for a while, have him come in and make a big impact. We're glad that you're with us today here on NFL Live, and we've got a ton to get to. Chase Daniel in the house, Jason McCourty and Field Yates. Guys, let's talk about Micah Parsons. J-Mac, how does this affect the first third of the season for Green Bay in your mind?
I mean, it's massive. We go back to a year ago when Micah Parsons gets injured, they don't win another football game. The pressure that they were getting on the quarterback falls down, and they're not able to get over the hump. So then you look at some of the moves they've made in the offseason. You say to yourself, all right, well, have they done a lot of things to get better in that department, knowing he's not going to be there? Cap restraints really didn't allow them to do that. Yeah. They brought in Zaire Franklin, Javon Hargrave, but they also lost Rashawn Gary, Quay Walker. So they weren't able to really patch those things up. So to me, you are very concerned. There's some division games in that mix, so easy schedule. You may say that, but not having a guy like Micah Parsons on the field, not only the pressure that he gets on the quarterback, but how much he helps the guys around him to be able to get home, especially the guys in the secondary.
He was pretty clearly the second best defensive player in the NFL last year. Obviously, Myles Garrett was the best. Now, the Los Angeles Rams Myles Garrett, by the way. But yes, it was a gigantic problem last season. The numbers you just saw right there kind of bared out just how bad it was when Micah Parsons wasn't on the field. And part of the reason why I think the Green Bay felt comfortable making Rashawn Gary expendable this offseason, remember, Gary very briefly announced his release from the Packers on Instagram. Then he said he got hacked. Then he got traded the day later. Offseason files.
Those hackers were on to something.
Yes. Yeah. But the Packers did not have a number 2 rusher that did anything to threaten opposing quarterbacks this past season. So they need to find out whether their 2025 draft class and to a degree deny Dennis Sutton, who they took in the 4th round this year, have any chance to give them a secondary rusher. Chase, it's asking a lot out of only day 3 picks. There's no day 1 or day 2 investments that Green Bay has made over the past 2 drafts to fill in this hole.
And those draft picks are going to have to show up early and often, right? You look at him, 37% of the time he was off the field last year. Well, you knew this was going to happen, but you got to have your team grow. That's how the Green Bay Packers always are. They like to grow through the draft. And I think when you look at it from a schematic standpoint, when you are a quarterback, you're like, oh, I have that extra half second more to throw the football. And with Micah, he's not only a great pass rusher, but he's really good against the run, too. He makes that whole entire front, that 4-3 front go. And I think when you're looking at a timeline to return, yes, it's going to stink. Yes, They're going to lose some production. Can they score enough points? But I think for him, it's way more important, if we think this roster is as good as we think it is, to really heat up on the back end of the season, right? To not rush him in, even if it is prime time versus the Cowboys. You want to make sure he's full go for a playoff run, which I think the Packers can be at.
Yeah, he emphasized that as well, so it's good to see that that's first and foremost in his brain. I mean, the other thing, too, is the Packers will just be healthier in general, even aside from Micah. They had so many injuries at key positions. All right, back to the massive blockbuster, trade from I said excuse me, okay, my bad. Myles Garrett is officially a Ram, arriving there, and he did his press conference yesterday. Now, it's time to get to work, something a player like Myles Garrett relishes in. Here's Garrett on if there's added pressure on him now that he's in L.A.
That's always been my role since I stepped foot into the NFL. So nothing changes for me. No, I don't feel any pressure to be anything else or be anything different. No, as long as I'm myself and I come here to work every day and I'm a leader, no, the success will follow. On paper, I'm sure, things look great. But, we got to go out there and put the work in. It starts in the field, starts in the classroom. And, we're not going to take a single day for granted. We're not going to be looking at any, odds or favorites. We're going to win each game day by day.
Garrett has statistically been the best defensive player in football since his NFL debut in 2017. He leads the NFL in sacks and QB pressure since then, with 10 more sacks than any other player. Garrett joins a Rams defense that was already top 10 in pass rushing last year. And just don't look now. What if we see?
Don't say it.
I said it. We'll talk about that in a minute. We're going to hear from Les Snead, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But first of all, Chase, what kind of impact will Myles Garrett make on the Rams in your mind?
He's going to make an immediate impact. I mean, this is a team we're talking about that was 5 points away from the Super Bowl without the best player in the NFL. Defensive Player of the Year. Now you're joining the MVP on the offensive side of things. My biggest thing is, the scary part of Myles Garrett's production, which 23 sacks last year, record. It all came with his team from behind. So teams are running the football more. When you look at this Rams team, they're going to be playing with a lead most of the year. What does that mean, Jay? Hey, more opportunities to sack the rusher. Also, you look at that entire defensive line, Kobe Turner, Poona Ford, Byron Young coming off a career year with 12 sacks. Look, every championship contender, which everyone could probably say this is the championship contender, Super Bowl contender, without question right now on paper as we're sitting here on June the 3rd. Every one of those teams need a closer. You could arguably say that now the Rams have the best offensive closer with Matthew Stafford and best defensive closer of football games with Myles Garrett. You put those four together, they're going to get after the passer.
I love what you're saying, and they have some new guys in the secondary, and I see a guy like Myles Garrett. I was there in 2017 when the Browns drafted him. His first practice, he just got off the line of scrimmage. I looked at Jamar Taylor, the other cornerback. I was like, we're going to be all right this year. At least in the secondary, we'll figure some things out. Exactly. Yeah. And like you said, the Rams last year averaged 30 points per game. He's coming from Cleveland, who averaged 16 points per game. So that's a massive difference. But I think the fit of it is what's huge, because you look at the Rams a year ago, they got a ton of pressure without blitzing. They were able to get home, and that was without a guy like Myles Garrett, who did most of his damage from just a four-man rush. So you look at this here, you're looking at the Browns, who are on this list largely because they had a player who had 23 sacks, and they were doing that without blitzing and getting home. So now you go up 2 spots and he joins the Rams. Look at what they're going to be able to do. Those guys in the secondary are going to be able to sit on routes, read the quarterback, and be more aggressive than they were a year ago when the latter part of the season they gave up a ton of points.
It makes you just so happy for Myles Garrett, too. Think about what he's about to experience and potentially winning a championship. We'll see if they can do it. Field, the Rams have shown us this F them picks strategy is going strong. In fact, it makes you wonder why more teams don't try to do it. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of it. But what do you think of the approach that they've had to the draft and how they've used all this?
Picks, first-round picks, premium picks have been hoarded for a long time, right? Yeah. Teams think about trading them, and it's almost sacrilegious. It's refreshing to see the Rams go about it how they feel is the right way to go about it. Go back to 2016 when they took Jared Goff in the first round. Over the past 11 drafts, including this year, the only first-rounder still on the roster is Ty Simpson. This is crazy.
Unbelievable.
Think about how many teams have made a horde of picks in the first round since that time. The Rams, I think, do something that too many teams don't do in the NFL, which is operate without fear. I think one of the reasons why trading a first-round pick is scary to NFL teams is that if you fail, it is going to be so obviously perceived by the public as like, you had a first-round pick, you gave it up for this guy. That was dumb. Should have never done that. Right? Think back to like the Sam Darnold trade for a first-round pick from Philly to Minnesota, like a high-leverage trade that perhaps didn't work out to how a normal first-round pick could potentially work out. The Rams say, screw it, we're going to figure it out. Now, some of that's probably the Sean McVay factor, right? He's such a darn good coach that even if your roster is not as good as everybody else's, and even if you have fewer resources to work with, he's going to find a way to get you to double-digit wins, plus a great front office. But it's a team that almost operates like an NBA team, while the other 31 NFL teams operate largely like NFL teams.
Yeah, that's a good analogy, a good way to look at it. Now, I mentioned this earlier, and you guys told me don't say it, the fact that Aaron Donald could potentially return. But let's hear from the Rams GM, Les Snead, this new on NFL Live. He spent some time on the Pat McAfee show just a little while ago and was asked about a possible Aaron Donald return. Listen to this.
Sean has had conversations with Aaron. He still communicates with Aaron a good bit. The neat thing about it is I do think for the first time, right, Aaron's like, ooh, wait a minute. I don't think he's actually thought that since he did retire. Because if you know Aaron's just at his core, at his DNA, he feels like if he doesn't think he's one of the best on the field, he probably doesn't want to be on the field. So I think he's actually enjoyed retirement. But you know what? He said he left and his tank was full. Maybe it's getting a little bit less full, Pat, so you keep texting.
I mean, he's not closing the door on it at all. And J-Mac, you don't need him out there every single down. Just give him some breaks, let him come in. 10 games.
He got to play. Why the hell else he got all that equipment in his house?
Yeah.
You don't need all of that to still be in shape and just look good.
Were those 140s
Just
or
easy.
160s?
Just like pumping them out.
They were about as much as you weigh.
Come on now.
He could pump the field.
I'm getting yoked this
I
offseason.
don't even need that many snaps. I need 10 games. Like,
Right.
I need 10 games, and I need 25 snaps a game with you and Myles and I'm like all those
You
guys.
talk about
That's
a
all you need.
closer that Myles Garrett can be. This is like the icing on top of the closer, potentially. I don't want to diminish Aaron Donald that way, but goodness. All right, we'll keep an eye on it. We're just getting started on NFL Live. Glad you're with us today. The Giants added a bunch of receiving help this offseason for Jackson Dart. Find out why J-Mac and Field don't believe those additions will be the big boost that they need. Time for some flag football. This past weekend, we had 2 regional tournaments. The New York Giants NFL Flag Regional, where the high school girls winner was the THT 17 Yellow and All-American RFP. The 10U girls winner was Long Island Venom, and the 10U winner, Brick Elite 10U. Green Bay Packers also hosted the high school girls winner was Milwaukee School, and the 14U winner was the NWC Blue Rangers. The 14U girls winner is Algo Sports Blue. Green Bay showing up and showing out. Up next, the Cleveland Browns host their tournament. You can catch even more great flag competition at the 2026 NFL Flag Championships this July 23rd through 26th. To find a league near you, go to NFLflag.com. All right, okay, what a time to be a football fan, you guys. New megastar players just making contenders better. Look at A.J. Brown out there at Patriots practice. His new squad, he's getting ready to go, showing them what he's all about. It's pretty cool to actually see him in that uniform. Maybe not if you're an Eagles fan. I don't know what people think either way. But he officially became a Pat Monday, even though it was widely predicted to happen. Let's hear from Brown on his new spot.
Just talking to my mom, and I was like, man, I'm still in awe. You know, I'm trying to adjust and, you know, walking up the hill with the uniform on. I was like, man, this is real, you know, and caught myself one point in practice, wasn't paying attention because I was like, dang, I'm a Patriot, you know, you know, and just trying to take it all in as much as I can. You know, obviously, you know, I got back to work quickly, but it's levels to it, and like I said, I'm enjoying it. It's obviously I know this ain't heaven, but you know, it's close to it.
I like that quote. Look at the smile, okay? The trade could not have come at a better time for New England. Wow. Since entering the NFL in 2019, A.J. Brown has 6 seasons with 1,000 receiving yards, which co-leads the NFL. The Patriots only have 2 since then, tied for the fewest in the league. One of those was Stephon Diggs last year. So, J-Mac, how does the addition of A.J. Brown change this Pats offense? There's probably so many different ways that are positive here, but what do you think?
I'm so intrigued to see what you guys think, too. Just being around Josh McDaniels when I was in New England, he would always talk about hunting out matchups and trying to find ways to get his best players in position to succeed and have the upper hand. I look at McDaniels, whenever he had a star wide receiver, what he was able to do with that guy in year 1. So you're talking about Devontae Adams when he was there with the Raiders. Brandon Marshall, Wes Walker, Randy Moss, all of these guys over 1,000 yards, ton of touchdowns. They were so productive in their first year with McDaniels because he found a way to get them targets and move them around the offense. So I look at A.J. Brown. I don't think he's going to be what we saw his time in Philly, where an X-wide receiver, he's lined up on the outside most of the time, and that's where he's getting all his targets. I can see him being a guy in motion, being in the slot, being all over this offense and finding ways to get him in catch-and-run situations, throwing the ball down the field, just allowing him to be himself and be the alpha in that wide receiver room.
I know Chase is going to dive a little further into how the Patriots might deploy A.J. in just a moment, but just sort of thinking, zooming out for a second and thinking about this offseason for the Patriots. They certainly made some moves, right? Draymond Jones in, Caleb Chase on out, Stephon Diggs out, Romeo Doubs in. How would you say, from a big picture perspective, this team might have been a little bit better, but I'm not sure they were much better.
Yeah.
This offseason felt incomplete until the A.J. Brown move went down. Drake May's development should make this team better. The schedule might make this team not quite as good record-wise this upcoming season. But A.J. Brown unquestionably gives this team something that they were lacking desperately, not just this past year, but as Laura noted, for the past close to a decade for New England. So this offense feels like it has much more of a fear factor to it than it did, I would say 24 hours ago, Chase, but really 3 months and 24 hours ago, because it feels like that's how long we've actually known this deal was going down.
I was gonna, like, that's kind of the interesting thing is you felt like, okay, well, they're going to be fine because they're going to get
him eventually.
It felt very different if this didn't end up happening. You heard some of the ways that J-Mac is talking about that you could utilize A.J. Brown. How do you think they should in this offense?
Well, I think you're exactly right. I think they should definitely move them all around. Here's my thing. There's no team in the NFL that's made better offseason moves in general for a quarterback that they believe is going to be a superstar in Drake May. Like, and it's just exclamation point with A.J. Brown. Specifically, I think he's best when he's an X receiver. He is the boundary guy. He's a huge guy. He's a guy that gets better with targets in the game. So you look at that first 15 script of Josh McDaniels, right? You're scripting first 15 plays. There's no reason A.J. Brown shouldn't have 4 to 5 targets, whether it's a screen, whether it's a little bubble pad, like whatever it may be. He needs to touch the ball early, and the physicality of him is what really sticks out. Look, A.J. Brown is, without a doubt, unquestionably one of the better receivers in the game. 6 of the 7 years in the NFL, he's had 1,000 yards, 32 touchdowns over 4 years. He's a guy that can make this offense go with Drake May. And if one-on-one, he's a man beater. That's something that the Patriots struggle with in the postseason, specifically Drake May. And you look at AFC, they play a lot of man coverage. He's going to beat them.
I'm glad you brought that up. No one has more receiving yards versus man coverage than A.J. Brown since his NFL debut in 2019. That's going to be fun to watch. All right, breaking news into NFL Live. The Santa Clara District Attorney's Office has issued a warrant for the arrest of 49ers wide receiver Brandon Ayuk on a misdemeanor charge of exhibition of speeding. It's in relation to a viral video posted by Ayuk in December in which he appears to show himself driving well over the posted speed limit of 40 miles per hour past Levi's Stadium. At the end of the season press availability in January, 49ers GM and president of football operations John Lynch said, quote, "I think it's safe to say he's played his last snap with the Niners." We'll keep an eye on this story, bring you any more information that comes out. And coming up next on the show, Dolphins minicamp is underway. Malik Willis has plenty to prove. Chase talking about his one trait that can make or break the Dolphins season. Doesn't have a whole lot around him. How can he make it happen? Chase will tell you next, right here on ESPN.
You know what? Nah. That's nah. They got them Giants expensive. So, not yet. I'm gonna be watching.
Hey, we like it. He's going to be watching our coverage on TV. You got any hookups there that you could get some tickets?
I'm not far from the arena at all. My son was asking me, and I had the same exact. Nah.
I saw the price.
We'll put the house up for sale first, son, and then we'll get you some tickets.
Man, the nosebleeds. That's not in any of our price range. Goodness gracious. But really fast, Knicks or Spurs? Who are you guys taking?
Spurs.
Spurs?
Who are you taking?
I'm going Knicks.
Okay, I was going to say, I'll break the tie no matter. I'll go Spurs.
Wow.
You got your Knicks colors on.
I know.
Yeah, come on now, Field. He's a Celtics fan.
Yeah.
Dylan Harper, Rutgers, baby.
All right, check this out.
Rutgers takeover is in effect
It's
right
true. New on NFL Live, the Giants are practicing today. Kayvon Thibodeau repping the Knicks. Look at that. He's got the Jalen Brunson jersey on. The Giants made some new additions this week, most notably bringing back Odell Beckham Jr. Here's the new Giants wideout on his return to New York.
Being back in the building, just on this field, looking at this stadium, it's a pretty surreal feeling. So I know I got a lot of work to do. I know Harbs and I have already talked about it. Like I came here to earn anything
You know, everything in my life, nothing was given to me. So I came here to earn it, just work hard every day, and be the best that I can for the team.
What kind of impact will OBJ make on this team?
I think the biggest impact has been with the fans and everybody on the outside. When he got signed, my son told me he wanted a jersey. I went to youth practice that day. There was a fan there, dad, talking about how amazing this signing, how great OBJ is going to be. He means a lot to this area when you talk about the New York Giants. That catch, some of the big moments he's had. He is famous, and people love that. He has a different number, as we talk about field, jersey sales, all of that. I think on the field, exactly what he said in that press conference, he's going to have to earn a spot on this roster. It's a minimum deal. There's no guarantees for the New York Giants. And his production the last few years hasn't been there. So as great as he was at one point, we haven't seen that lately. So he's trying to earn third, fourth spot of typically being in that wide receiver room.
No question. We'll see whether he makes the team. It would be an amazing story if he sticks around this upcoming season. To me, though, the Giants' skill group is defined by what do we get out of Malik Neighbors? An interesting offseason, to say the least. Certainly some speculation that he won't be ready at the start of this upcoming regular season after that second surgery to that torn ACL that was suffered last season. And you said this to me before the show, J-Mac, in the green room. Maybe OBJ can kind of be the mentor for Malik Neighbors to help him get on the path to greatness. You know, two LSU guys, two guys that came out in the rookie season and achieved incredible stardom. Malik Neighbors can learn from Odell Beckham Jr. about the lessons required to sustain that stardom that go beyond just your physical capabilities on the field.
Yeah, so that's the Giants. Let's turn our attention to the Dolphins. Malik Willis at minicamp today for the Dolphins. And this team, right, clearly in rebuild mode. You kind of wonder if Willis really knew what the roster would be. This would be what he'd be dealing with when he became a Dolphin in free agency. But either way, let's hear a little more. We check in with NFL Network reporter Cameron Wolf joining us live. And Cam, what has been the word around Dolphins camp on Willis and the new Dolphins offense?
Good afternoon, Laura. 4 Dolphins players have given me the same description of Malik Willis this offseason. He can rip it. Arm strength, athleticism, not a question at all. And he showed it at practice today. A 40-yard deep touchdown to Ben Sims in team drills. And look, this is a quarterback and a team that is certainly in rebuild mode. But he has told his team throughout the offseason, don't get frustrated by the ups and downs of progress. I'm told the team has called the chemistry building with the wide receiver a work in progress, but he is coming off his best 3 practices in the last week. He's shown that potential. And look, throughout the offseason, this Dolphins team and Malik Willis will be defined by opportunity.
Opportunity means exactly what it says, opportunity to prove something, opportunity to continue to get better, opportunity to just do whatever you can do to put yourself in position to take advantage of the situation that we're in. And like we keep hearing, the people of this city, they want to win really badly. They want guys to play Miami football like it was back in the day. All we can do is work hard and give them what they want. These are the people that support us. These are the people that are behind us every day. And throughout the ups and downs, they still are here waiting.
Look, the new Dolphins path will take time, but this is something they've talked about this offseason. Finding the long-term answer at quarterback for Malik Willis, giving him the support that he needs is the most important thing for this team. And I'm told the first call the Dolphins made at noon in March when free agency happened was to Willis. And the Dolphins brass told him, we believe in you, we love you, and we want to build this thing around you for many years to come. And if Willis can take advantage and maximize this opportunity, maybe, just maybe, the Dolphins fans' wait will be over soon enough.
Great to have you on the show here, Cam, and a lot of familiarity there, certainly with the coaching staff and Willis from Green Bay. We appreciate you. Now, not a ton of numbers to go off of for Malik Willis, right? But he did make a huge improvement in his time in Green Bay. Look at this. In 11 games with the Titans and Packers, Willis completed 25% more throws in Green Bay and did not throw a single interception. We got Chase at the touchscreen. Chase, how can Malik Willis be successful for the Dolphins?
Yeah, Laura, I think the biggest thing for Malik Willis being a successful quarterback down in Miami, he's got to win from the pocket. He's got to have some playmaking abilities, and he's got to use his legs. This is the first play. This is the first play of the game. For a backup quarterback that has not played well, this is the game that got him paid. What I want you to pay attention to right off the bat is I want you to look at all these Ravens defenders up there. There's 6 in total, all right? But not so fast. There's a one-on-one matchup down here. So here's the play. It's a go route, which is an alert for you. It's going to be a deep cross, which you're crossing over, and it's going to be a dagger route. Pretty normal Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love Packers play, which he hasn't repped a lot. What he does on the first play, though, I want you to look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. His eyes are right down the middle of the field. So he's just holding this safety. He's understanding, hey, look at all those guys on that side of the field. So pre-snap awareness, then goes to post-snap decision-making. He said, I'm going to take the one-on-one matchup right here. Usually don't love a go ball with an outside release go, but he's able to throw this football perfect. This is the first play of the game, so no nerves. The second player here I really enjoy shows his playmaking ability. So they're going to do this jet sweep motion. They're going to come across to a 2-by-2 formation. I'm going to go ahead and draw it because I cheated. I watched it before. Yes, it's just 4 verticals. When you have 4 verticals versus a 2-high safety look, not really great. So the play fake's there. I'm going to pause it at the top of the drop. You want to try to hit this defender behind this nickel before this safety. This guy does a really good job understanding that, and he squeezes it. Well, Chase, where should you go? Well, the back. The back, look at it. There's no running back. Get out, running back. What are you doing, okay? So he understands it. Look, he's already raring to throw this go ball. Can't fit it in there. Running back's not out. Doesn't freak out. Doesn't get a lot of reps during the week. He understands, hey, I got to go play make, right? He could easily use his legs and just run, which is something that we're going to show you, but he's really good at. What I like most about Malik, and I've watched almost every single snap, he breaks the pocket, not to run, but to throw. He finds Watson right there, able to throw on his left, hits him right in the chest. It's a perfectly thrown football. The final play we have right here, be a dangerous runner. That's what you were drafted for. That's what you're going to be getting paid all this money for. Well, it's man-to-man coverage. Everyone's got a man. You know who doesn't have the quarterback in man coverage? A linebacker, because he's blitzing. He understands this. They run routes up there, and he's able to break through for a quarterback draw. But he says, big boy, like, get off me. Like, come on. Keeps his balance. If he uses this as a runner in Miami, they're going to become a next-level offense. It's going to be tough down there. There's not a lot of playmakers. But with Malik Willis understanding and running that offense, and he's able to beat you so many different ways, I think that's what makes him dangerous.
An excellent illustration of something to be excited about if you're a Dolphins fan. Coming up, Jared Verse is being live for Browns OTAs after being traded by the Rams for Myles Garrett. I'm sure a lot of this has been a bit of a whirlwind for him, but here's Verse on joining the Browns.
It was upsetting. I was upset for a good little bit of time. But when you're an athlete, you understand the nature of business. I'm happy to be a part of the Browns. I'm happy that they believed in me and they were able to make that trade and bring me here. But it was upsetting at first. But you got 2 choices that you can either work or you can give up. And I ain't never been a quitter. My job is to be the best me. If I'm the best me, I'm not going to be Myles Garrett. I'm not going to be Maxx Crosby, this guy, that guy, the best players in the league. I'm going to be the best Jared, and that's going to be the best player in the league.
Man, you see just how important he was to that Rams locker room. Now he's bringing that leadership, that attitude to this Browns locker room as we welcome in our Browns reporter, Daniel Oyefusi. Daniel, what can you add about Verse's first day with the team?
Yeah, Laura, Jared Verse arrived in Cleveland late Tuesday. By Wednesday morning, he was in the building for team meetings. And by Wednesday afternoon, he was out on the field in a number 8 jersey, working on his get-off as he transitions into this Browns defense. Now, Verse was limited to just individual drills as he ramps up and learns the playbook. But as he watched team drills, he was impressed by what he saw from his new teammates. He said after practice that you can tell how a team is by how they practice. Losing teams practice bad. Great teams practice amazing. It translates, and that's not a losing team out there.
Thank you so much to Daniel for joining us here. And Verse joined the Browns team that had the 3rd most efficient defense in the NFL last year with Myles Garrett. So, as he said, big shoes to fill, but he's not going to try to be Myles Garrett. We appreciate you, Daniel. Time for an offseason edition of That's Cap as we welcome in NFL research producer Evan Kaplan. ESPN Analytics released their initial football power index Wednesday. Cap, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, Laura, complete rankings and projections from our Seth Walder on ESPN.com. And we're going to focus on the team of the week and the team of the offseason. That is the Los Angeles Rams, starting with their chance to win the NFC, entering the season 25%. Wow. Highest in the conference. Look at this. Nearly double the defending Super Bowl champion Seahawks. The 49ers are third in the conference. So NFC West near the top. And then their chance to win Super Bowl 61 in their home stadium, which would be the second time they've done that, of course, 15%. Next closest is the Bills at 11%. That would be the most likely Super Bowl matchup right now, according to FPI. But this is interesting, guys. So we have had this projection, these rankings, since 2015. And in only 3 of the previous 11 seasons did the team that had the best chance entering that season end up winning the Lombardi Trophy. The Chiefs did it twice. The Patriots did it in the 2018 season, the last time they won it all. So, Chase, I'm saying based on this history, despite all these moves, the Rams are not going to win Super Bowl 61. Is that cap or no cap?
Ooh.
Cap. They're going to win it. They're going to win it. Look, I love, I'm glad we had that conversation.
Let's
go. Because I was a little bit older.
Cap, we had to explain cap or no cap.
Okay.
Chase.
I've been around kids for so long. I did it right. That means they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Hey, we were not going to out you, and then you kind of outed yourself.
It's
so,
funny.
sorry.
Look, they already have the best roster in the NFL, and you add Myles Garrett, a closer. You have a closer on offense with Matthew Stafford, so you're capping that they're not going to win a Super Bowl.
Okay, Cap, so that's the FPI story for the Rams. Is there anything we can learn from last year?
Yeah, of course, Lauren. There's a team in their same division, certainly that won the Super Bowl in the Seahawks. They played those 2 classic games with the Rams during the season. And last year, entering this season, so at this point, the 2 teams that played in the Super Bowl, the Seahawks and the Patriots, were both outside the top 20 in terms of their chance to make it to the game. 2.6% for Seattle, only a 2% chance for the Patriots, 21st and 25th, respectively. So they were long shots at this point last year to get to Super Bowl 60. So let's spin that forward, right? And look at this year, the 12 teams, the bottom 12 teams, in terms of right now, their chance to get to Super Bowl 61. You see the first 5 teams on this list, all in the NFC, Falcons and Vikings, teams with ton of skill position, player talent, quarterback competitions. Commanders got to the NFC Championship game 2 years ago. And then Saints and the Giants, 2 teams with second-year quarterbacks with some optimism. So, Field, if you had to pick one of these 12 teams to get to the Super Bowl like the Seahawks and Patriots did last year, who are you going with?
Well, first of all, I don't think any of these 12 teams will make it to the Super Bowl. That being said, if
Good qualifier.
you got to get to the team that you have confidence in the quarterback in. And amongst the teams on that list, the one that I keep coming back to is the New York Giants. Quarterback in Jackson Dart that played extremely well last season when healthy and available on the field. A pass rush that could be excellent in a remade offensive line, plus, of course, the floor raiser and the eventual ceiling raiser in John Harbaugh. This team is going to be at least solid. They have a chance to be very good in an NFC East that I think each team in the division goes into this year feeling like they can truly win the division. I would pick Philly, but I think all 4 that they have a shot.
Yeah, I would agree with you guys. I don't think anyone's making Super Bowl here, but there's one team that does stand out, and they won a lot of games 2 years ago. It's the Vikings. Yeah. It's the Vikings. If the Vikings can get even 75% out of Kyler Murray, which I think is going to be the starter of what Sam Darnold did 2 years ago, they have a really good roster. One of the best receivers, if not the best receiver in football. It's all going to come down to this guy right here. Like, how does he play within the scheme of Kevin O'Connell? Defensively, there are a lot to deal with. You know this with Brian Flores. There's a lot of schematics that they're dealing with. TJ Hawkinson, Addison, Aaron Jones. I mean, the roster is really deep. This is a good roster. If Kyler can play well, I think they got a shot.
I love that pick. And you mentioned Brian Flores and all of the confusion that he does on the defensive side of the ball. That allowed them to win 9 games last year without really anybody playing good at the quarterback position. So I love that selection. Kyler Murray, the addition, and what the Vikings could become.
And by the way, Harbaugh, the only man to coach the Giants with previous NFL championship experience. So you said he can raise the bar there. I believe it. All right, cap or no cap? I'm glad we could define that for Chase here. Yeah. Chase, this is what you learn when you come hang out with us here on NFL Live. Still to come, we got a lot more to get into. Caleb Williams enters year 3 with sky-high expectations. So what's the next step in his evolution? J-Mac